Success is a gift for the committed. It's going to require you to go ahead and do it, even times when it doesn't feel good. Number one, there's always a way to win when I'm committed. I've heard that over and over again from winners. There's always a way to win.
Welcome to the Thought Leader Revolution with Nikki Ballou. Join the revolution. There's never been a better time in history to speak your truth, find your freedom, and make your fortune. Each week, we interview the world's top thought leaders and learn the secrets of how they built a 6 to 7 figure practice. This episode has been brought to you by eCircleacademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.
Marc is a Navy veteran. He did the SEAL training as well. He has been the #1 realtor in all of San Diego County. He was then recruited away from that by Tony Robbins to be the director of coaching and training at the Robbins Research International. He grew Tony Robbins' business from 6 coaches to 151. He added overall to the companies, over $150 million in sales directly through Marc's genius and through his efforts. He left Tony Robbins in 2016 to join another organization called Clients on Demand. And through there, he managed to work with over 5,000 entrepreneurs. And his genius has always been to help really good people with great hearts elevate their success, like sell from the heart. And that really struck with me. He's been coaching me for 10 years. In that organization, Marc has helped his clients generate well over $1 billion in sales. I think it's approaching $2 billion now, Marc. And so that's his credentials and whatnot. He's crazy like Teresa. He likes to do these extreme races. I mean, you guys know about her running 12 hours on a treadmill 3 times and all that kind of nutty stuff. So Marc does that kind of nutty stuff as well. And they've been threatening to go do something really nutty together for a long time. He is like a brother to me. I've spent time with him in his home in Big Bear. More than that, he gives a good gosh darn about his fellow man and woman. And
so I'm excited to rock with you guys. And one of the things Nikki asked me to talk about is really is about what does it take to hit black belt in 2 months or less? What does it take to hit 7 figures? And it's something that I analyzed a lot starting back with Tony Robbins. And one of the things that I noticed was a couple of things. Number one is it was not luck. Some of the most successful people I had the pleasure to work with, one was a multi-billionaire. He was as average as you can imagine. But there's certain things, though, that they do differently than people that struggle and never get lift off. And so really the secret to getting to 7 figures is really hacking the human condition, which is really my 2 favorite things to discuss. One is skill development, how to optimize and hack skills so that you get more results in less time, but also how to get the human condition to go ahead and be at its best. If you guys remember a movie called Limitless with Matthew, I forget his name, but it's where he takes the NZT pill and he can now use 100% of his brain. I love that concept, and I've been doing that with, unfortunately, there is no NCT. I wish there was, but I've been doing that and looking to do that for now. How old am I? Almost 41 years. That's what I obsess on, is how do we hack the human condition? And then how do we transmute that into more income in our business? Because if you think about it, think about when you've been on fire. You're crushing it. You're picking up the phone. You're calling people. They're enrolling. You're excited. And then there's other times we get there where we can barely get out of bed. We don't want to do shit. That's the truth. What is the difference? And so if you can understand what that difference is, you can actually hack the condition so that you get better results in less time and that you make a shitload more money in less time. So that's really what I wanted to talk about. And so one of the things that I had the benefit of working with so many people that have become very successful. At Clients on Demand, it was great because we took people who had an idea and then we watched them hit all various levels of success, some to $1.5 million a month on a relationship program. We had other people in the relationship program who were convinced that there was no one online on Facebook. Same exact model. And all the evidence in the world would not get the people that had not hacked their condition to go ahead and open up and do what we knew worked. So guys, it's the other one too. We'll look at this a different way. How is it in an accounting firm or in a real estate firm or a lending firm? You could have 5, 10, 20, 100 agents working in an office. How is it that a handful of them are making $1 million a year and half of them are not making anything? You guys ever wonder about that? Same opportunity, same credentials, same profession, yet a small group are making millions. Are they that much smarter than the people making none? You got to decide, yes or no. No, but they have different traits. They have a different work ethic. They have a different association. That's the truth. And I watched that because I remember there's this one lady, what was her name? I forget her name, but I think it was Melody, but she started working and she had 5 kids, one of them on her hip. And in her first year, she made $300,000. And back then that was a lot of money in the 80s. And there were other people in the office. She was the sole provider for her family. She had 5 kids that she took care of. She had one of them was breastfeeding and on her hip, and she did 300,000. That's probably today with inflation, probably over $1 million in her first year. She knew nobody. She had moved to a new town. She was working under Tommy Hopkins, who was not a great sales trainer, but she was in an office where everybody was bitching and realizing, saying, oh, the market's oversaturated. There's no way to get business. Oh, I don't have time. If you think about it, in your industries as well, every one of your industries, are there people making 7 figures in the country or the world? The question is, if they are, and you have that skill, the question is, what does it take for you to get there? And again, I can tell you it is not luck. That's the lie that keeps us from even entering the real arena. So that's what I wanted to talk about, because I've had the pleasure of helping Nikki helps create many millionaires in that program as well. And there's always a difference. You guys have seen it in already. Dwayne is doing really good. Dwayne is taking action. Dwayne is doing this, and Dwayne is having a lot of success. There are other people that come in, same opportunity, and yeah, but. Please write this down. You will never hit your goals if you're a yeah, but person. Yeah, but. Oh, I can't do it. Yeah, but. Yeah, but I'm different. I have perpetual terminal differentness. So the question is, what does it take to hit black belt in 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, or a year? Because that's where life starts to get fun. Guys, I'm not going to lie. It sucks when you're getting back to the gym. It sucks. There's no positive about it. It cracks me up. It's like, oh, I'm so excited I'm going to the gym. You know what I know? If they make it through the first 30 days, there's a good chance they might continue. But most of them quit. Why? Because it hurts. Your muscles are sore. You feel fat. You feel like you're weak. You feel like an idiot. You feel like the only one in the room that doesn't know what they're doing. You know what I'm talking about? Let me see a show of hands if you know what I'm talking about. The same thing happens when we start building a business. And I'm talking about not just having a business, I mean pushing to 7 figures. You're going to have to get outside of your comfort zone. That's the truth. So it's the same thing. But what happens if you stay consistent? What happens if you have a coach? What happens if you have a nutritionist like a Dr. Val or a coach like Nikki in your ear saying, okay, let's kick it today. And boom, we're going to do this, this, this. Now, all of a sudden you're growing, you're growing, you're growing. And all of a sudden you get results. And then all of a sudden in 6 months, a year, you don't even recognize yourself and you don't even realize how much you've grown. And other people come in to see you and they're like, oh my God, you look amazing. What are you doing? You don't notice it because you're going daily. And you're not one of those ones that quit at 30 days, the yeah, but group. So what I wanted to talk about today is there's 3 main things that are going to differentiate how successful you can become. Number 1 is the top traits you're going to need, the actions you're going to need to take, and the beliefs that you need to make that happen. If we work it backwards, we could go first off with beliefs. There is a direct correlation between your beliefs and what you're going to do. This is one of the big areas that Teresa coaches people. This is a big area when I'm coaching people is you won't even hear what you're saying. Teresa, raise your hand if that's true. Exactly. If I have time. I'll try. How much does that make Teresa's skin crawl when she hears, well, I'll try? There is no try. There is either commit or not. That's the truth. And it's funny because Teresa didn't try to set 3 world records on a treadmill. She didn't try to go ahead and do something great. She chose to do something great. She decided to do something great, which comes to the word decide, which means to cut off from any other possibility. That's a belief. Now, what people don't realize is we have positive beliefs that empower us to a goal, and we have beliefs that disempower us to a goal. If Teresa had a belief that, running that long could kill me, do you think she would have been able to run for 12 hours straight? If her core belief was, people die at every single marathon. Do you guys know that? In the big marathons, people actually die. It can kill you. It's really bad for your knees. Those are beliefs. People believe them and they stay fat. Okay. If she believed that she could die, do you think she would have jumped on the treadmill? No. So there's something called the success cycle, which some of you have seen, and it looks like this. Let me see if there we go. The success cycle starts with a goal at the top. Then you go to your beliefs. Your beliefs are going to decide either they empower you or don't, but most people do not intentionally set their beliefs. So their beliefs, according to Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton, the people that are doing it, that say you have about 30 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 95% of them are disempowering because we've been conditioned that way from childhood. Play small, don't stick your neck out. That's what happens when you go big. You didn't make it. That, people fail. We're not that kind of family. All of those beliefs start setting. So if your beliefs are negative, and most of the time they are, do you think you're going to access more of your potential or less of your potential if you think you might die, if you think you're going to go bankrupt, if you think that this could have rejection with it? You will take less action. Potential, then we go, if I'm using less of my potential, am I going to take more or positive action? If I'm bringing the weak version of me, the supervillain. Now, then I go to, am I going to get better results or less results if I don't bring the best part of me and I'm taking less action? What do you think? I spiral down. And then I come right back up to the goal and I say, see, I told you my family's never been rich. I told you I'm a woman. Women can't make money. It's a businessman's world. Everybody knows that the men run the show. It's discriminatory. Misogyny. Women can't do it. Women should be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Those are beliefs that dominated society. Some of us remember when that was norm. You go to a school counselor and they say, well, you could be a nurse, you could be a teacher, you could be a nun. What do you want to do? Or secretary. As those rules have changed, the beliefs have changed. Now, if you have a positive belief that I'm just as capable and I always find a way to win, I'm going to set a goal to make 7 figures, black belt. Okay. I'm going to set a goal to be black belt, and I'm going to set a goal and I'm going to set my beliefs. There's always a way to win. If Val can do it, I can do it. If so-and-so can do it, I can do it. I'm just as good as them. Those are beliefs. Am I going to take more of my potential if I know I can win, or less of my potential? I access the superhero. I access all parts of my awesomeness. If I'm using the best parts of me to show up to win and I am connected to that goal that inspires me, am I going to take more action, more incessant action, more intelligent action? Of course I am, because I know I always win. I always find a way to win and I get better results. And then I go up and I spiral up and I prove, of course I'm going to win. I always find a way to win. And so what happens is the goal has to be supported by beliefs. I'll show you pictures. I want you to think about your beliefs like this. Your beliefs are nothing more than like a table. And I'm going to put 7 figures. I always win. Okay. That's a belief. Okay. There are other tables of beliefs that say, you know what? I've never made $1 million. I've never made $1 million. I've never done 100,000 in a month. I didn't go to a really fancy college. Every one of these is either true or untrue based upon the references you have below it. Now, if I write out 10 people's names that I know that have made $1 million, Those are legs under the table. Each one represents a different name. This one's Val. This one's Steve. And these are people that I know. This is Rich. This is Tony. If I go through and find other people, when I make that belief, it starts to have support. Now, when I start taking the same action that millionaires take, that becomes another leg. Like I'm using the sales system that made 5,000 millionaires. I'm using the same system. What happens though is that now becomes my dominant belief. And in the decision to take action or not, I'm going to win because I'm taking action, because of course I'm going to win. Steve did it and he made $1 million. Jane did it and she made $1 million. Val did it and she made over $1 million. And what happens is my mind has the evidence it needs to move forward. Okay. The guy that I met that was a billionaire, and it was really crazy. I think I've told you guys, some of you this, but I worked with him for 6 weeks and I did not realize he was a billionaire. First billionaire, Tony's a billionaire now, but the first guy that I ever worked with, every single day we were working on a project for Tony. The thing about it was somebody goes, how did you get to work with Paul? That's crazy. Paul's worth $2.1 billion. What the hell? And I'm like, bullshit. No, it's not. I think you got the wrong guy. No, that's Paul. So I went and asked him. I said, Paul, somebody said you're a billionaire. Is that true? He goes, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And he started telling me his beliefs and his story. It was just the much average Joe you could imagine. And he was worth $2.1 billion. He got sick and tired of being broke. He said, if other people, notice the patterns, if other people could make money, I was going to get great at finding a way to make money. And he did. He went back to the drawing board. He created something. It was some type of software thing. He did something. He got really good. He got around people who could help move him forward. It went public. He sold his stock when he could, made $2.1 billion. He did not dress fancy, but he did have a different mindset, a different action set, and he had a different peer group and people that told him it was possible. So that's what I want you to get. But if you don't change your beliefs to support the goal, you're not going to win. I don't care who you're working with. I don't care if Tony Robbins is your personal mentor. You will not win. Beliefs will either help you soar or drop down. Now, the problem with the human condition, any belief and any choice you guys make now, it is in competition with 40, 50 years of self-defeating mentality. All the times in high school, you felt like a loser. All the times in college, you felt like shit, I didn't get into my dream school. All the times you felt whatever. All of that, every single failure in your life that your mother-in-law reminds you of, that is still in your head. So it's important that you realize if we're going to hack the condition, these have to be really freaking strong, really freaking energetic, and with a lot of emotion support to them. Because the other ones have won by default. It's kind of like going into a forest. If that forest is 50 years old and you're going to try and plant your food, you got to get rid of some of those trees because they're blocking the sun. Okay? So the first thing is your beliefs. Number one, here's a few that make a difference from people I know that actually win. Number one, there's always a way to win when I'm committed. I've heard that over and over again from winners. There's always a way to win. 2 minutes left. Here's how we can win. I start instilling that belief and start looking for ways for that to be true. Number two, others have done it and they're no better than me. And if we're honest, there are people that have made $1 billion that are not as smart as anybody in this room. That's a tough one to swallow, but it's true. Number three, I will outserve and outwork my competitors. When you are fully committed and you're obsessed, there is nothing you cannot do if the other two pieces are in place along with it. The fourth one is I invest in my goal. I think like a CEO. This is a tough one. A lot of people are trying to get a CEO paycheck with a consumer mindset. That's never going to work. So what happens when you have a consumer mindset is you think like a consumer. Consumers are a part of the food chain. They are at the bottom. The one you want to think like is the CEO. What do CEOs, how do they think? They make their decisions based on their goal. They hire talent around them to help them get there. They acquire the skills needed to accomplish something. If they don't have it, they hire it. They have good people in their ear. That's the truth. They make decisions quickly. based on evidence. They change their mind slowly. Don't believe me? Go study it. And this is something that there are people out there. It doesn't matter what suit you wear. I can make an argument about the way that you show up and dress and all that. There's evidence on both sides of that. If you're a renegade and a rebel, you can pull off the Steve Jobs thing, which is a sweater, or the Frank Kern thing. But most of them, or the Bill Gates, the high tech had a different approach, which is we're renegades. So they played it all the way to the bank. But I want you to think like a CEO. But those are some of the beliefs. Now, there are some that you're going to have to get rid of. You're going to have to weed. Like, it's too hard. It's too expensive. I can't afford it. I don't have the time. We are not talking about just making some money. We're talking about 7 figures and breaking the glass ceiling. We're talking about permanently changing the trajectory of your life, your family's legacy. Once I started doing this, also, by the way, my income started to skyrocket. So that's some of the things that you want to pay attention to. Now, the second aspect, or what are some of the traits that I've noticed about people that are successful? First thing is they're decisive, like I said. They make their decisions on the goal. They're committed. David Goggins was a fat, out of shape, uneducated African-American who didn't know how to swim. He became one of the world's baddest men on the planet. Runs 100-mile, 200-mile marathons through Death Valley, the hottest place on the planet. He learned how to swim. He used to run 25 to 30 miles a day each way to work, and he hated running because he wanted to bring awareness to the world about kids whose parents died in Afghanistan and Iraq. He was committed. He was decisive. He was going to do it. And the guy was not smart. He showed up at his first 100-mile marathon. He had never run that far with a bottle of Gatorade. That was all he did to prepare for a 100-mile race. It's true. He started pissing blood about mile 60. His kidneys started shutting down. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. And he did the 100 miles, and guess what? The event coordinator for Badwater said that wasn't the goal. The goal was to run for 20 hours or 24 hours. You only ran for 20. It doesn't count. Holy shit. Do you think you'd be a little pissed off? He ran on a broken foot. His foot broke while he did it. He was pissing blood. And then they said it didn't count because the goal was not just 100. It was to run for 24 hours. He only ran for 20 hours straight. He regrouped. He came back and he requalified. But he did something different the second time. He started to reach out to other people who have done a lot of distance. He found out that they had different ways to fuel the body. He started listening to other people that knew more. He already had his own commitment. He had his goal and his reason, his purpose, but he was lacking skills, but he got those skills. And then he qualified, and then he ran Badwater, which is the most insane course on the planet. The other one, you can see this as well, is they're driven. If someone looked at you from outside, they would notice somebody paying the price for success. They're driven for success. It's a different conversation. Kind of like you're never going to see someone put you down who's on the way to their goal. The only people that are going to attack you and put you down are people who've quit on their own. That's the truth. Driven people would look at you and go, hell, fuck yeah, Dwayne, you could get to $1 million. Tom, you could absolutely do $1 million. You've got grit. You're already making huge changes. You need a couple of tune-it, but people that are doing something are going to see it in you. People that have quit are going to see, oh, well, Tom, you wear glasses, and they're going to start knocking you down. That's just the way it is. You're not going to get through this without attackers and people throwing stones. Okay. The other part too, they're coachable. This is a tough one for a lot as well. We only know, and here's the thing too, who's a better coach? Bill Belichick, or Tom Brady? Phil Jackson or Magic Johnson or Michael Jordan? Who's a better coach? Think about it. Michael Jordan coached, Magic Johnson coached. Did they ever win any titles? No, they were great players. And in the middle of a game, they were better players than Phil Jackson ever was. Pat Riley was a great All-American player, but he got hurt. He never ever made it, never won a title as a player. But he understood the mindset of a player. He could see what the player's tendencies were. He could see patterns. And because he was not in the fight directly, he had a better vantage point. He could see different things that you can't see when you got 12 big uglies trying to kill you. So from the sideline and the guy up in the booth, he could look and he could say, okay, they're stunting. They're doing this. They're getting ready to blitz. Run to the left. And that's all he would hear. So he'd run to the left, not thinking because the coach got him out of trouble. Very rarely is the coach better than the player. Very rarely. Many times the best players make terrible coaches because they got there based on a great coach and talent. How do you coach somebody that has less talent if that's all you've got? For example, if we're running, we're talking about VO2. You all know those people. There are certain people that the first time they went out and ran, they ran a 430, 440 mile. First time. They had a huge VO2, means they were able to get a lot of mileage out of a little oxygen. You take other people like my daughter, the first time she ran a mile was 12 and a half minutes. She did not have natural ability. We coached her to a point where she was a champion. But guess what? There was another girl in her school, her class, who she beat all the boys in running. She beat all the boys in every sport you could play. In 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. She dominated sports. But guess who made varsity? My daughter, not her. Because she didn't develop the work ethic. She was not coachable. She had so much early success based on her talent. But work ethic and coaching will trump talent every time. The higher up you go, coaching helps refine talent. You have to have a certain amount of it. You can't be a total idiot, but you have to do the work. You have to be coachable. You have to be in alignment with your coach to get to a goal. One thing I can tell you about Tom Brady and Belichick, they were on the same page. They did not like each other at times, but they were on the same page to win another title. They've talked about it repeatedly. They had many disagreements. But when it was ball time and they had that, that's how they did it. They worked as a team where the coach in the box could see stuff in you that you can't see. For example, I remember hearing Phil Jackson talk at one time about, it was either about MJ or Kobe Bryant. He was coaching Kobe Bryant, I think, and Kobe was getting shut down. It might have been Michael Jordan, doesn't matter. But he was coaching the best player in the game at the time. And he kept faking to the left and going to the right. But after the other team watched a lot of film, they realized that Michael Jordan always faked to the left and drove to the right. So what did the defenders get trained to do? He shifted to his left, so he was blocking the right. He was held to like 3 points in the first half, Michael Jordan. And it was funny because there's an interview with the player who thought he was a big badass, right? Well, at halftime, they reviewed the tape of Michael and they said, Michael, you're tipping your lead. You're only going to the right. He goes, I need you to fake to the left, fake to the right, and then go to the left, then it'll be wide open. And he did. He's finished with 40 points. Phenomenal story. But that's where a coach came in. Michael did not realize he had forgotten to go to his left again. The defenders all knew it. So they collapsed and closed his right. So he was trying jump shots and double teams, triple teams, and he wasn't as effective. Once he opened up faking to the right and going to the left, now the defenders stopped their plan and they didn't know how to stop him. So that's what a great coach can do for you. You might have a tendency. I had this one guy as an example. He was using my exact system that was making me a ton of money in real estate. And he's like, Mark, I'm doing exactly what you said. It's not working. And I listened and he sounded great. And when I met him, he said like this, now, other than that, is there any reason you wouldn't want to work with me if you actually felt you could make the most money, the quickest sale, and the fewest problems by doing business with me? Is there any reason you do it? He didn't see it. His body was saying no. His beliefs were that he was too new of an agent to get him that much money. So his beliefs were that he couldn't deliver on the promise, so he was incongruent. So his body was like screaming to the client, no, 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 no. All I had to do was get him back in alignment with how we get people more money than the other realtors. And once he believed it, he realized it was true. He started nodding his head when he did it and it worked. But he left to himself would have never seen it. Let's get to number 3. Once you have your goal, your beliefs, and your action step or your traits in alignment and you're committed, now it's time to get into action. Nothing happens unless you get clients. If you don't have clients, you don't have revenue. Now, if we're selling a product, that means clients are buying your product, but still, you have to have that where you're getting clients. That is the key. Any marketing event, any marketing, whether it's cold outreach, whether it's ads on Facebook, whether it's ads on TikTok, whether it's a BNI group, whether it's direct response marketing, whether it's email marketing, whether it's text marketing, they're all methods to stimulate and drive traffic to do it. You have to do something. If your beliefs are not in alignment and you're not decisive and committed, you're not going to pick up the phone. If you're more focused on the rejection or not feeling like you know it, you will not do the work. So everything comes to the point of getting on the phone with somebody. You have to do that. You have to find some different methods to get in front of potential ideal clients. If you have the money, you can explore paid traffic. If you don't, you're going to have to do more guerrilla marketing. Both will work. So it's important that you guys look at that. So there's a couple of things too. And Robin Sharma, one of the guys Nikki used to coach, had I sold my Ferrari, whatever it was, the monk who sold his Ferrari, I think it was, something like that. Nikki asked him, what does it take to double your income? And he said, oh, that's easy. Triple your mindset, triple your investment into yourself, your business, and your skills, coaching. He didn't say just double it. He said you had to triple it. That gets back to the beginning when I said you're competing with 40, 50 years of disempowering beliefs that have already taken root in your brain. So you have to overload it with triple. If the goal is to double your income, you got to triple the investment. And that's something most people won't do. They want to get a gigantic return on the least amount of effort. And that's what comes on the back end, not the front end. If you look at the top, this always cracks me up. If you look at the top NBA players in the NBA, they make an average of $25 million. If you look at the average WNBA, they're making like $70,000, $100,000. And again, no offense, but all the women's groups are all pissed off. Oh, it's unfair. It's misogyny. It's proof. It's bullshit. The WNBA loses $80 million a year. It's subsidized and nobody watches it, including the same feminists who are screaming. Nobody watches the WNBA. If you went and asked the top 10 feminists in their city, who are your top two players? They couldn't even tell you the name of the team. So there's something about it, though. Why is that men's NBA? Here's why. Because they make billions of dollars. Now, when you get to something where it's effective, the top guys make exponentially more money than they're worth. It's just like a teacher. They don't have as much influence as an influencer like Jay-Z. It's true. We don't like it, but it's true. When you get to the top of the pinnacle, you will be paid more than you ever imagined. And I don't care if you're in accounting. I don't care if you're in business. But you have to do the work. And one of the things that I saw this, Tony, I remember talking about this, and he was absolutely right because people are all getting all butthurt. Oh, it's not fair. First off, life's not going to be fair. But there was two inverted pyramids I want to show you guys. They look like that. Okay? Now, if this person up here is a very small group, but they make this much money over here. This group down here is the bulk of America and Canada, right here. These are people that have high school diplomas or less, and they assume that they're going to now have something and they're going to jump out here, but they're getting a very small percentage, and there's a lot of them fighting for it. Now, if you work harder and you do more, then you're going here, but you're still not really getting a whole lot. You're almost getting the second level is where you're almost getting what you pay for. But what happens, the higher up you go, your income starts to go up over here, and there's fewer of you. So what people don't realize is that, oh, you get what you're paid for. No, you don't. You get paid less than you're worth until you get to the top tiers. Like the NBA, are they really worth $30 million to $100 million a year to play basketball and put a leather ball through a hoop? A teacher makes $50,000. And this always cracks me up. People are like, oh, well, the women only make $70,000 a year and the men make $30 million. Yeah, because they're making shitloads of money for the world. They're selling sneakers. They're selling shoes. The women's aren't selling shoes. The women are averaging 500 to 2,000 people in an arena that sits 60,000. The money the men bring in, and this isn't a male-female thing, it's simply who are going. Now, if we looked at women's tennis, guess why they get paid a shitload as well? Because people show up to watch women's tennis. They buy women's tennis clothes. That's why they get paid almost as much as men in tennis. So if you want to start getting paid more, you have to get to the top tier. And that's what a lot of people want to get all butthurt and they want to argue with it. But here's the reality. A move to equity is like in Russia means everybody's broke and poor. That's the truth. The only ones that win in that are the proletariat and the people that are the politicians. Everybody else is poor. So I want you guys to look that the actions you have to take are to get clients. You have to get efficient at getting clients. You have to have multiple ways to get clients. Part of why Nikki, we got him into doing podcast guesting. Not to knock him, but it's like, Jesus Christ, Nikki, every other day, it's like, oh, I got another one. I got another one. It's like, holy shit. And Nikki, again, there's other people out there. Oh, that won't work. When we put our post up, it was really funny. We put our post up to announce that we were going to do it. And then there were the internet trolls saying, oh, scammers. Don't tell Nikki, guys. Do me a favor. Don't tell Nikki it's not a scam, okay? It's amazing. People who have quit on their dreams are doing it. But the reality is you have to know how to get clients. And I'm going to recommend you don't just have one way. Because as good as podcast guesting is, my hunch is as it gets bigger and bigger, which it's doing now. I told Nikki, I've seen 2 other people starting to copy us already, putting ads out. But it's only going to last for 2 to 5 years, maybe longer, but it's a 2 to 5 year window of shooting fish in the barrel. If you do the work, if your beliefs are in alignment, if you are coachable, okay? Second thing is you need to hire a mentor. You need to have somebody in your ear. Now, here's a couple of caveats. There's a lot of pricks out there. I don't mean to be mean, but there's a lot of money-grubbing assholes who don't give a shit other than getting your paycheck. A friend of mine, she spent $250,000 in over 2 years in a mentorship group with somebody. And guess what? He still didn't even know her name. There was only 20-some people in the group. Didn't even know her name after 2 years. Her name was Simone, by the way. That's a tough one to figure out. Simone. Oh, gee, that's going to take me 2 years. The reason is because he didn't care. This was the same individual who was a coach's coach. He'd never coached. He didn't have a coaching business. And he got interviewed by Forbes magazine. For some reason, they called him. Somebody said to call him. So they called him and they said, hey, Christian, would you give us an article and interviews? And he said, absolutely, as long as you mention and reference and give a link to my website. He didn't have a website yet. So he bullshitted for the entire interview. Well, coaching is a business and coaching, he spewed a bunch of bullshit. They ran with the article. By the time the article came out, he had a full-fledged coaching website on training coaches, training business people. It was all a bunch of shit. People spent a fortune because he sold the illusion and the promise. I've seen that more than once, and I say it that way nicely. So you want to make sure there's 3 things I'm looking for in a coach. Number 1, that they actually care. And they actually care enough to tell me when I'm off track and help me get back to my best. The second thing with a coach is they need to have a certain level of skill set excellence. This is one of the problems Tony had with a lot of the people in Tony's whole system is that he gets you all rah-rah, but now you're left to try and figure it out on yourself in the business. So he created Business Mastery, which was a copy from about 7 to 8 different business people. Then he kicked them out and kept the content. But the problem was you still didn't know how to apply it to your specific business, like UpMax. Then the third thing is that not only do they have to care, but they also, at the same time, need to understand human behavior. Usually the people have 1 out of 3. They either know a skill, and then they're what I call a Nike coach. Just do it. Well, Dwayne, just get on the phone and start calling, man. Just call people. Well, that's great. But I had 20 no's in a row. Now what? If you don't understand human behavior, the people can't move you past your fear. You will eventually crack. And I don't care if I'm talking bodybuilding, even in bodybuilding, you guys know me, I'm hyper motivated. The first time I hired a coach, I was resistant to hire a coach because I fucking coached people on this. I've been studying. I know more about it than most personal trainers, and that's a true story. I have multiple bodybuilding certifications and lifting certifications. I have ACE, I have strength. I have all sorts of these different certifications. Why would I pay? I have nutrition background. You name it. I have obsessed on bodybuilding and weightlifting and fitness since I was 20. I'm almost 60, 39 years. You guys look at my library when I'm at my other house, you guys see it. Those are all bodybuilding nutrition books. I've been to the seminars. I've been there. I've done it. I've applied it. So I didn't want to hire a coach. So when I did, you can imagine how coachable I wasn't. Well, I like to work out on an empty stomach. There's a study out of Toronto that shows that a study and it's going to help you get more fat burning at the same time. And there's a study out of Stockholm. And so I knew too much. And my coach kept coming back and he said, then do it your way. It hasn't worked yet, but do it your way and see what happens. Okay, I'll do it your way. So then I had my peanut butter and my apple before I worked out. And then I wanted to argue with the sequence of lifting. Well, that study again. And so I was arguing with the coach. And every single time he came back, he put 3,000 people up on stage looking their all time best. I had not yet gotten to my all time best. So I had to admit I was missing something. And it wasn't until I paid for the coach that it started to click. Now, for 16 weeks, I still argued. The first time I worked with him, the first time I argued about every single thing. And I didn't think it was working, by the way. And I had huge transformation. 16 weeks later, I looked amazing. He now uses my before and after on his website as one of the big transformations. I did it again and got even better results. The second time I worked with him, I didn't argue at all. What do? The third time I optimized it even more, and I took Dr. Val, who then used my epigenetics and my DNA markers to go ahead and realize I was allergic to some of the foods. We upgraded them. I got even better results. So now I had two coaches. Even though I knew a lot of this shit, I still wasn't getting to that top tier, which is where it gets really good. Now I'm almost 60, and again, I can outperform pretty much every 20-year-old. That was my goal. Okay. I can jump higher. I can't jump as high as I used to because of my legs, but I could outrun them. I could outlift them. That's pretty cool. I don't outshag them. Okay. So the second thing too is you need a peer group. This is another one. You need a peer group. And again, this is another thing. One of the things I hated about Tony Robbins' peer group is called Platinum Partners. What I hated about it is everyone was in there for themselves. Every single person in there was like, hey, Dwayne, you need to join my group and pay me $100,000 for my MLM program. And if you don't, you're not going to be invited. And they literally have these cliques where if you don't pay for their specific bullshit and join Juice Plus or some other shit, they pretty much ostracize you. And it's like high school cliques again. And that's pretty common. You want to be in a group where it's normal to speak about your goals. It's normal to celebrate, because I can tell you, even with my wife, there's a lot of people that don't want you to be celebrating. You have to have a group where it's normal. You have to have a group where it's good. And they go, oh, you're going to do a black belt this year? Awesome. Let's do it. That's a totally different environment. Most of you are in groups that money is not really, I don't know how to say it. It's kind of like the worst are the therapists. Oh, we're not about the money. We're about helping people. Or accountants. Oh, that you must be doing something illegal if you're making that kind of money. And so what happens is a lot of times that when they think about money is there's a negative connotation to it, and nothing could be further from the truth. If you're serving people, you should be making gobs of it. If your systems are in place, you should be making gobs of it. If you're in the right group, it should be the norm, not something that you're apologizing for. It also has to reinforce your skill sets. You have to develop your skill set. I don't care. One of the greatest lessons at Bud's training is always be training. That is a truth. David Goggins to this day is still training every day. Your dream doesn't have an off day. So you have to decide, are you fully committed or are you looking for convenience? Please write this down. Success is a gift for the committed, not the convenient. It's going to require commitment. It's going to require you to go ahead and do it, even times when it doesn't feel good. But if you do, you're going to be walking and soaring in areas that very few people do. And I don't care what your niche is. It's funny. I know Dwayne's there. I keep beating up on Dwayne because he's an accountant. I had this similar conversation with somebody who now makes $3 million a year as an accountant. $3 million a year. And she teaches people how to get accountants, how to make more money. Before we started working with her, guess what? She wasn't making $3 million a year. There weren't a lot of accountants that were teaching people and knew how to do that. Now it's her norm. There's always a different way. There's always a new way. There's always a way to add more value. And if you can get your head around that, you guys can go wherever you want to go. Lastly, you have to do the work. I don't care if you have the number one nutritionist, the number one workout partner, the number one gym in the world, and you even have a chauffeured limousine driving you to and from, and you have a professional chef cook your food. you still have to lift the weight. You still have to build the muscle, because if your trainer's lifting the weight, they're building the muscle, and it has to be you. You have to commit. You have to decide to cut off from any other option. You make the decision first, and then the vehicles and the pathway will show themselves. You have to make the decision. You know what? Fuck it. I'm done playing small. I'm done. I'm sick and tired of being good. Good sucks. Good is one of the most dangerous places there is to sit because, well, I'm doing okay. Fuck okay. Do you have your dream car? Yes or no? Do you take first class trips when you want, how you want? Yes or no? Do you wake up to hundreds of emails every day, people saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, changed my life? Do you have people cleaning your toilets? Do you have people washing your car? There is a whole nother level available when you take that final step up into the top tier. So I'm going to challenge you guys to do that. I can tell you, having, like I said, worked with people, it's not luck. It's not intelligence. It's not a fancy degree. I'm not going to knock it if you've got it. That's not what's your greatness. If you will do these things, guys, and get this in your system, you guys can all take it up a notch. And no matter where you are, I'm going to challenge you to look at your business, your income, and ask yourself, what would I need to do to double, triple, quadruple, or 10x my income this year? Because it's available. Right now, you have a unique opportunity because everyone else is running around with their head up their ass and they're scared shitless. Most people are trying to hold on. That is, have you guys ever watched this? They call it prevent defense in sports. The team's up by 20 points and there's only 3 minutes left and they go into a prevent defense. They stop playing to win and they start trying to not lose. They always lose. This is not the time to go small. This is not the time in this economy when prices are skyrocketing. You have one choice, and that's to go big, period. Even if you made the same money as you made last year, you actually made 20 to 30% less. This always cracks me up. Let me ask you guys a question. Let's go back for 4 years. 4 years ago, you put on 20 pounds. 3 years ago, you put on 8 pounds. 2 years ago, you put on 5 pounds, and last year you put on 3 pounds. In the last 4 years, how much weight did you put on? Who knows the answer to that? Was it 3 pounds? Or was it over 30 some pounds? 30 some pounds. Well, guess what? The government just told you that you only put on 3 pounds with inflation. It's a crock of shit. Do you guys get that? When they're giving you some bullshit number and they've modified the numbers, is your gas 3% more than last year? Yes or no? I'm paying $6 a gallon now. 3 and 4 years ago, I was paying $2 a gallon. That is not 3% inflation. I'm not a fucking idiot. Don't gaslight me, piss in my face, and tell me it's raining. So that's the part I want you guys to get. If you guys are not skyrocketing your income and getting ahead of it, you're going to get pulled down and be in that bottom tier. I don't want that for you. That's just the truth. I'm just speaking from the heart. You need to jack your income. It's funny. I remember the first time I had a 7-figure year and I thought, wow, that's really cool. And then I realized, do you guys realize how much 7 figures is compared to 1920 income? The dollar is worth like 3 to 5 cents compared to then. That's no big fucking deal anymore. Get your head around the fact that it's time for you to step up and take your income to the next level. Don't settle for $100,000 or $250,000, guys. That's nothing today. And the government, not only is your inflation killing you, taxes are creeping up. And it's like, it's not just your income tax. It's the gas tax. I pay 79 cents a gallon on gas tax that they pull and don't put towards the roads. They put it to other shit. If you're not jacking your income right now, you're falling behind. And everyone else is falling behind. So you have to decide. Either fight to get to the top tier or get your ass kicked, guys. It's just the way it is. And if you look back at the numbers, you'll see I'm telling you the truth. So again, it's an opportunity. I think it's Rupert Murdoch. It might be Wayne Buffett. One of the two of the guys, when they see trauma and they see big issues, they run to it because they know there's opportunity. Right now, there's a huge opportunity because most of the business world and most of the world is scared with their head in the sand. They're petrified to go after it. The recession, the Great Depression, that's when big businesses really started. It is the same opportunity today. So I'm going to challenge you guys, step up and take advantage of the opportunity you have in front of you.
This episode has been brought to you by eCircleAcademy.com, the proven system to add 6 to 7 figures a year to your thought leader practice.